Welcome back, snow lovers, to what has been the most prolonged period of cold weather we've seen since early January, and that has been accompanied by some really significant snowfalls for many. It's felt like winter once again for all of us, with well below average temperatures for at least the last 5 or 6 days, and not one, not two, but 3 major winter storms coming down from the north. Virtually every corner of the Alps has seen some snowfall during this period, with perhaps the exception being the furthest southwest. But the focus of this snowfall has been in the northern and eastern Alps, in particular northern Switzerland and most of Austria. There, places have widely seen in excess of 50 centimetres of snowfall throughout this period. Some areas have seen well in excess of a metre of snow, and in the most extreme cases, the snowfall totals have exceeded 2 metres. And it's not just been at elevation. Snowfall has been recorded right down to the lower valleys again, with coverings of snow seen down in the lowest of resorts. In northern France, the snowfall totals have been much more modest, but we've still seen around 10, 20 to 30 centimetres of snow each time, which has kept both the on and off-piste conditions topped up nicely. The Italian Alps have also received less snowfall, but even there they received around 10 centimetres of snow over the weekend in the likes of the Via Latia, which has kept everything topped up nicely. But crucially, it has remained cold, which has preserved the snowpack that they already had, so conditions there are still great as well. And the cold temperatures have meant that they've been able to keep producing snow and keep topping up the lower runs. Even at this late portion of the season, they're still making snow across the Via Latia. So conditions right across the board, with the exception of perhaps the Dolomites, are looking really healthy for the time of year. This is one of the best lead-ups to Easter that we've seen in a number of seasons. And even in the Dolomites, even though the quantities of snow aren't that great, with the snowmaking infrastructure that they have there, and the snow that they've been able to produce throughout the season, the on-piste conditions there are also still great, even though the off-piste is much more limited than it is in other parts of the Alps. And we are now in the first week of the Easter holidays for the majority of UK schools, and indeed the main week of the Easter holidays for a lot of Austrian schools. But in spite of that, it is still incredibly quiet in the Alps. Indeed, in my neck of the woods, it's eerily quiet, especially considering how great the snow conditions are right now. It's completely dead. We've got the best snow that we've seen during the Easter holidays for a long time, and yet absolutely no one's here. So if you are fancying a last-minute trip, absolutely go for it. You won't be disappointed. And likewise, in many resorts in Austria too, it is also eerily quiet considering it is their main Easter holidays right now. In France, the spring holidays for School Zone A begin this coming weekend. So that includes the majority of the central portion of France, such as Savoie and Haute-Savoie. So we can expect things to become a bit busier in the major French alpine resorts from this weekend onwards, as the French schools start their main holidays. But the Paris school holidays don't start until the 18th of April, which will be after many of the resorts are already closed for the season. So this season we won't expect to see a huge influx of Parisians driving down for the Easter break, as their Easter break, or rather their spring break, is well after Easter. And in that regard, we can expect that many resorts right across the Alps will be starting to close from the 7th of April onwards, after the main Easter weekend. Most of the resorts in the Via Latia, for example, are scheduled to close from the 12th of April, after the UK schools' Easter holidays finish. Likewise here in the Chamonix region, most of the resorts are closing after the 12th of April. Indeed, some of the resorts, such as Combloux, have closed already. And this is in spite of the still fantastic snow conditions that we have around here. But, as is often the case, it's the lack of customers, not the lack of snow, that is forcing the resorts to close. Unfortunately, this is an issue that the ski industry as a whole faces, particularly here in Europe. The snow conditions are often more reliable at this time of year than they are over Christmas and New Year, and yet most people stop thinking about winter activities after the February half-term holidays. So this means that many resorts will struggle to stay open into the spring, despite the fact that they have the snow conditions to do so, just because they can't afford to keep running. So, if we want to help preserve the European ski industry, really, everybody needs to start coming on holiday over Easter. Especially as the season is getting shorter and shorter, we can no longer rely that there'll be good snow at the start of the season, but you can guarantee that, at least if you go high enough, there will be snow by the end of the season. Of course, you are less likely to get cold dry powder at this time of year, although it does still happen, but skiing on spring snow, and in particular spring corn, is equally as fantastic. And you have the advantage of much longer days and much more pleasant weather often as well. So all in all, spring is a great time to be coming skiing, and it's a real shame that more people don't do it. And from the winter storms that we've seen so far this week, we're about to see the return of sunny, warm high pressure. It's going to go from feeling like mid-January to perhaps like early June. By Easter Sunday and Monday, we could well be seeing temperatures into the low 20s again in the lowest resorts, which will be a huge change from the start of this week when it was snowing heavily, even down as low as 500 metres. So, for anybody planning to travel out over the Easter weekend, you can expect that snow will be transforming fairly rapidly from cold winter snow into lovely spring corn, at least on the sunny south-facing and west-facing slopes. But certainly, if you go high up on the shady north-facing slopes, you will still be able to find some coldish, dryish, buttery powder for at least a couple of days. And crucially, the weather looks set to be good for everybody right across the Easter weekend. Should be pleasantly warm, sunny, with low winds. Which will be a pleasant change, as the winds have been a bit of an issue over recent days, resulting in a number of lift closures, and often the links between different resorts have been impassable. And for now, at least, it looks like the high pressure is set to last until at least the middle of next week, before we see a return to perhaps something more unstable in the latter part of next week, with maybe some rain and indeed some snow once again. But as always, that is a long way off, and the details are very uncertain right now. But at the very least, if you are travelling out for the Easter week, you can expect the first part of the week to be very, very pleasant weather. And to my UK viewers, if you're unable to get out to the Alps this year, but you still want to get your ski fix, you will still find plenty of great skiing on the mid and upper mountain at both Cairngorm Mountain and Glencoe up in Scotland. In Cairngorm Mountain, expect to stay open until at least the end of the Easter holidays, and Glencoe Mountain, if conditions allow, will stay open until at least the May Day bank holiday weekend. So there's still tons of skiing available to be had north of the border up in Scotland as well. And now for some representative snow depths once again. And Lech in Austria have an upper base of 245 centimetres and a lower base of 90 centimetres. They've received around half a metre of snowfall today, the 31st of March. That's on top of the already great snowfalls they've received earlier in the week. They're not expecting any more meaningful snowfalls after today for at least the next week, but for a couple of days at least it will remain cold before the temperatures all start to heat up again. And Zell am See have an upper base of 118 centimetres. Officially, they have zero base down at resort level, but they have received snow down to resort once again over the recent days. So even though there is no base left down there is a good covering of snow down at resort now. They received around 20 centimetres of snow today, on top of the 30 centimetres of snow plus they received on multiple occasions through the previous storms. So there's still plenty of fresh snow to go out up on the mountain there. In Switzerland, and Lax have got an upper base of 140 centimetres, and a lower base of 25 centimetres. They received around 50 centimetres of snow today and yesterday, and again, similar snowfall amounts during the previous storms as well. And Wengen have an upper base of 135 centimetres, a lower base of 35 centimetres, and they received around 5 to 10 centimetres of snow today, on top of the 20 to 30 centimetres of snow they received a couple of days ago as well. Crans-Montana have an upper base depth of 272 centimetres, and a lower base of 120 centimetres, which, for a south-facing resort, is pretty exceptional for this time of year. They received around 20 to 30 centimetres of snow today, and similar amounts yesterday as well. So they've also got some great snow conditions for the time of year. In the Dolomites, and Alta Badia have an upper base of 40 centimetres and a lower base of 10 centimetres. So like I say, the Dolomites very much had the short straw this season. But even so, they still have got some great on-piste conditions to be had. And they received around 6 centimetres of snow yesterday, which have just refreshed the piste nicely. Further west, and Courmayeur have an upper base of 140 centimetres, a lower base of 70 centimetres. They received around 10 centimetres of snow yesterday, and 5 centimetres of snow a couple of days before. And Sestriere in the Via Lattea have still got an upper base of 260 centimetres, a lower base of 30 centimetres, and as I've already mentioned, the region received around 10 centimetres of snow over the weekend. Moving over to France, and Teens have got an upper base of 233 centimetres, lower base of 121 centimetres, and they received around 10 centimetres of snow over the weekend as well. And finally, Val Thorens have got an upper base of 295 centimetres, and they've still got a whopping 230 centimetres for their lower base depth, and they also received around 10 centimetres of snow over the weekend. So that's a wrap for another week. Thanks as always to the guys at Snow Camps Europe and Salzy Online. For more detailed snow report for the Zell am See and Caprin area in Austria, then check out Snow Camps Europe's YouTube channel. And for more details on the Via Lattea, head over to Salzy Online. You still have at least another month of my midweek snow reports to look forward to yet, so keep tuning in. And if you're getting value from this content, then please don't forget to like and subscribe. And you'll all be hearing from me again next week.